Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. Apologies for the previous stream if you were watching live. Audio issues, that's the problem. But Manchester United have made a decision on Jose Mourinho. We'll also be talking about the director of football. We'll also be talking about potentially signing a centre-back that I think a lot of you would like. Lots to talk about. It is Saturday night Q&A as well, so we will be taking some of your comments. And the link is in the video description for the Discord server. If you want to get on that, we'll talk about that in a little bit later. But realism strikes. Realism strikes. It is Saturday night. A week from tonight, there's no football this weekend. It's international break. That means no football officially. So a week from tonight, we should be 6th in the league. Cash back. Dig it. We're 6th. We're on the way back. Anyway, we should be 6th next week because we've got Palace at home at 3 o'clock. Watford are above us at the moment, but they're playing Liverpool where they should lose. And Bournemouth, who are above us, are playing on Sunday. So technically, win the game and we should be 6th next week, which would be absolutely fandabby-dozy, wouldn't it? Great. Great stuff. But realism. Realism is what we're talking about. Manchester United, Ed Woodward have made a decision on Jose Mourinho, and it will not surprise many of you that that decision is to back Jose Mourinho and hope and pray that this situation turns around. Now, some United fans will be very, very happy with that. Some United fans like me will just be, oh, this is just painful. It's meant to be Christmas. It's the most wonderful time of the year we're building up towards, and I know over the next few weeks that the United fan base is going to become more and more toxic. And it's deep breath time, it's fasten your seatbelts time, because when we beat Palace, when we beat Southampton, when we beat Fulham, everyone's going to be going, oh, take the L if you're Mourinho out, look at us, we're great. And then when we go to Anfield and park the bus, us lot will be saying, told you so, and they'll be going, yeah, never liked Mourinho anyway. So, look, the reality is, and this is a really good point, and this is from the Discord server, so I'm going to give copyright to the United Stand Discord server, because I was listening into this last night, contributed a little bit myself, and the conversation was about why Ed Woodward and Manchester United are backing Jose Mourinho. Now, you can say it's because of lack of football knowledge, because I think most people with a football brain would say, what many of the things that have been said on this channel before, that Mourinho is a great manager. His Wikipedia page is great, but he's a has-been. His football is successful, but it doesn't work in the modern game, and it's totally and utterly not suitable for what Manchester United's all about. He's lost the dressing room. It's divided. It's only going to end in tears. And anybody who knows anything about football would say that. But, so you could say, well, our board and Woodward don't know anything about football, and that's probably why. I actually think the truth runs far, 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 far deeper than that. I think the reason Jose Mourinho is still at Manchester United is because of this. It's because of this. What are our owners, the Glazers, all about? Money. What is Ed Woodward brilliant at? Money, brand deals, this, that and the other. The bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. It's all about the money. It's all about what profit is. 1 million loss in profit is something that Woodward would worry about and the Glazers would worry about. 1 point dropped in a game against bloody Chelsea, or 2 points dropped, that's not the same as £2 million dropped. It's all about the money. So when I think about, and it's important to me as it is important to you, why is Jose Mourinho still being backed? Why are they describing the season as a mixed start to the season when it's definitely a crap season? The reality is, it comes down to this. How much money will it cost to get rid of Jose Mourinho? Anywhere between 12 and 25 million pounds if you believe the rumours. But on top of that, if you got rid of Mourinho, let's say it's cheap, £12 million. You've then got to bring Zidane in and pay somebody wages as well. So let's say that's another 12, that's £24 million. Zidane's then going to say, they're not good enough, they're not good enough, they're not good enough. So you're going to lose players at not their full value. So that's more money going out. Then you've got to spend more money to get Zidane the players he wouldn't. I mean, it's not long before if Zidane or Jardim or Blanc or whoever is the next United manager, the cost to do that is, let's say, a conservative 200 to 300 million pounds. For a new manager to come in, for Mourinho to be sacked, and for the new manager to get rid of players and bring people in. That's 300 million pounds to do what needs to be done. To keep Mourinho and hope that it goes, well, you don't have to sack him, so that's money saved. He's not going to sell many players because this is his squad. And yes, he might wipe 1 or 2 players, but Mourinho likes 30-year-olds, so they're going to be cheap. So you've got £300 million to do what needs to be done, or £50 million to gamble and hope and pray that Mourinho works. And that's your answer. I know. That is it. That is it in a nutshell. Yes, Glazers and Woodward probably don't know anything much about football, but what they do know is about money. And when people are going, why is our board backing Jose Mourinho? Don't go falling into the trap of they've looked through the annals of history of Manchester United and they've identified that when Sir Alex Ferguson first came to the club, it took him a few years to do it. Sir Alex Ferguson was a hungry manager, a young manager, an attacking manager who'd broken the dominance of the Celtic club, of the Rangers and Celtic clubs, the Glasgow clubs, with Aberdeen. And he came to Manchester United, and Manchester United hadn't won a title in 2 decades. They were a cup team, and he rebuilt the club from top to bottom, and they played good football. Jose Mourinho is the other way round. He's won titles. United have won titles. His CV is very good. He's come to Manchester United. He's not a long-term manager. He plays poor football. He's a checkbook manager. And it's a short-term management. And that's not what the club are going. The club are not looking around for a footballing reason why Mourinho is the right man for Manchester United. They are simply looking at it and going, if we sack him, we pay him his wages to go. Then we've got to pay the wages for a new manager. Then we've got to back that new manager with a couple of £100 million at least. Whereas if we hope and pray Mourinho works, all we've got to do is pay £50 million for some 30-year-old he wants, and that's it. And it's totally about money. It's totally about money. Mourinho is still at Manchester United because of money. Because the shareholders and the owners do not want £300 million going out of the club when they can gamble on what they've got and only have to pay $50 million. And that's what it's all about. But I believe personally they will come to the same conclusion of a lot of what I have and what many Manchester United fans have. And this is why we dallied too long with Moyes, we dallied too long with Van Gaal, and we'll dally too long with Mourinho. But it's a very important thing because I think patience is so important to us now. Because I see a lot of United fans saying I'm really frustrated with Mourinho. You know what? I share that frustration, but unfortunately there is no quick removal of this man from our club. There isn't one. We're gonna have to be patient. I don't think it's a personal choice. I don't think you have to be hopeful he's going to turn it round because I personally don't believe he can. Although I do think we'll win some games between now and New Year. But if you want to know why he's still in charge, just put money in your head and you'll realise it's massively cheaper to stick with this manager and hope and pray. And that's where the lack of football knowledge comes in as well, because why are they hoping and praying? Because they're not brave enough to realise, or they're not knowledgeable enough to realise that this is going to fail. And that leaves us in the lurch. And that's the reality. Director of football is very interesting. Oh no, let's actually talk about the signing first. So, Jose Mourinho last week was in Belgium on the international break. So a lot of United fans putting 2 and 2 together talking about Toby Alderweireld. Toby Alderweireld, if he doesn't sign a new contract at Spurs in the summer, he's got a year left, but in the summer there is a release clause that he can go for £25 million. So if Toby Alderweireld does not sign a new contract next summer, he can go anywhere for £25 million, or he can stay and run out the last year of his contract. Toby Alderweireld is also 30 years of age in the summer. So there's a lot of United fans saying Toby Alderweireld is a great signing for United. Look, it's a difficult one in some ways, but actually I'm going to be ridiculously blunt about this. Does Toby Alderweireld make Manchester United a better team? He makes us a better defensive partnership, but who do you partner him with? That's still a problem. Would Toby Alderweireld have got us more points at the start of this season? No, because a lot of the goals have come down the right-hand side, and one defender doesn't make any difference when the whole team can't defend. And also, we've got the best goalkeeper in the world. And has he stopped goals? One defender wouldn't make a difference when a team can't defend. So, I think Toby Alderweireld would be a good player to bring in. Do I want him at Manchester United? If I'm totally honest with you, I'm going to be blunt and say no, I don't want him. I don't know what you think in the live comments, but Breach69 says Alderweireld changes nothing. I don't want Alderweireld at Manchester United. Really, I don't want him at United because he's 30. He's quite injury prone in the last couple of years, although this season he's doing okay. And where's the long... Alderweireld, to me, would be like Alexis Sanchez and Matic. They're very good players to bring in if you're planning on winning the title for the next couple of years before they decline. But if they're coming in to build something, well, what's the point? Next season we build a team with Alderweireld and we finish second or third again. The year after, he's on the decline because he's into his early 30s. This is Mourinho. This is Mourinho's tactics. Let's sign Sanchez to build a team. We've still not built that team. He's now touching 30. Let's buy Matic to build a team. Well, Matic is already declining and we've not built the team yet. So they're a waste of time. For me, I'd be looking at Skriniar of Inter Milan. That's where I'd be going. Early 20s. is clearly going to be the next sort of Van Dijk or someone like that. When he hits his mid-20s, he's going to be one of the best centre-backs in the world. That's who you go for to build a team. That's who we should be going for. Skriniar from Inter Milan or somebody like that. Even a Koulibaly who's a little bit older at Napoli, but somebody like that. Alderweireld, for me, is just somebody else's scraps who's coming towards the end of his career that we're going to bring in to try and do a quick fix. That we're not going to do a quick fix at Manchester United. So by the time we get where we need to be, Alderweireld needs to be replaced anyway, because I don't think this United team's winning the title for at least another 2 years. Because I think one of the realisms I would like to say and defend Mourinho on is that this team is nowhere near winning the title. Whether Mourinho's here next season or not, we're not winning the title next year because we're nowhere near. The team needs breaking down and rebuilding again. It's crap. There's so many problems with it. I mean, you could list off on your hand 5, 6, 7 players that need to go and probably 4 or 5 that need to come in. We're not winning the title anytime soon. So why buy somebody who's 29, 30? Because we're 2 years off winning the title and they're going to be 32 and retiring themselves. Then you've got to replace them. I think United need to be looking at players between 23 and 27 to push 27. I'd say 23 and 26. That's what you're going to be looking at. So in 2 years, they're in their prime. Because we're not winning the title for 2 years. I can already say in November 2018, we're not winning the season that starts next August 2019. We're miles off. So I don't want to see Alderweireld coming in. I want to see Skriniar coming in. I want to see some, we've got to look beyond the short-term fix now. And this isn't just about Mourinho. This is your Di Marias. This is your Falcaos. This is these players that come in as, for instant success. The mercenaries. You can't do that anymore. We've got to build a club again. We've got to build a club again. And you know what? I don't like Liverpool. Everyone knows I don't like Liverpool because of the rivalry. But I look at what Klopp's done there and he's building a team. He's building a team for the future with a mix of youth, with a mix of experience, with a mix of prime players around their sort of mid-20s. He's building a team and a philosophy. And that's what Manchester United need to do. So for me, it's no to Toby Alderweireld. I also saw somebody going about Godin. I mean, this Godin rumour was on the last day of the transfer window in August. Godin's 31 or 32. I mean, I'd like Godin at United as a very, very short-term fix. But again, why are we going for short-term fixes? We're not getting relegated. We're not winning a title anytime soon. Again, for the same reason, I think we need to be going for something a little bit older. That's just my personal opinion. Not sure how interested Zidane is managing long-term. He'll probably be at Juventus, says Quid Est Veritas. Look, I think that's a very good point. I mean, we talk about the replacement for Mourinho. For me, look, I can spout names off about replacements for Mourinho, but the reality is I can't tell you where Mourinho is going to go. I wouldn't surprise me if Mourinho was still Manchester United manager this time next year. I don't trust this board to make the right decision because I think they're always going to be thinking about money. And it's much cheaper to stick with what you've got than to change it all again. Trevor Kiprop says people are still chatting in the Discord. They'll get banned. They won't really. I'll talk about that in a minute. Well, actually, the Discord server, if you want to get on, we did a call in last night, so it's all through Discord now. The invite link is through the video description. You can see it there. You won't get on the United Stand Discord server without using the invite link because you can't get into our community without an invite. So the link in the video description for that. We're getting close to 3,000 members now. There's live audio chat groups in there where people are just chatting 24/7, and there's live text groups where people are just chatting away with their typing. So get involved with it. And also, if you want to get involved in call-ins in the future, the next one's Monday night and then Thursday night. You need to be a member of the Discord, but it's free to do it. Get involved. Make sure you smash a like on the video. I do want to take some of your questions tonight as well. Leroy says Eddie Howe's a great shout. One thing I would say, because when I'm working in the day or if I'm playing a bit of FIFA, I put my earphones in, I go into the Discord server, and while I'm playing FIFA, I'll listen to the voice chat groups. And I must admit, out of the 20 times over the last 3 days, I've dipped in and listened to people talking because I can mute my microphone and just listen to them. Eddie Howe is I must start writing down the topics. Eddie Howe is, people are always talking about Eddie Howe when I tune into the Discord server. And it's always a divided opinion as well. So all I would say is I don't really need to give my opinion. There's people who really would like Eddie Howe, and then there's people who, like I've said, who are saying Eddie Howe at Manchester United morally would be brilliant because he probably deserves a job like that. But he'd get bullied by our board because he's never managed a big club before. He's never managed big egos before. And they'd probably say to him, crack on with 20 pence. You know, at least if he got a Zidane, he'd say, I'll take the job because we'd be begging him, but you've got to give me 400 million to spend. Eddie Howe would be begging us to take him. So I don't think it's the right fit. Personally, I think Eddie Howe's a fantastic manager, but I don't think he'd be the right fit for Manchester United because I think he'd get overawed by the situation and bullied by the board into saying, you're not having this, you're not having that. And we don't want that. We don't want that back again. As Paul Robinson says, Eddie Howe could fold under the pressure. United's a different animal. I'd love to see Eddie Howe getting... I'd like us to take Pochettino and then Spurs to get Eddie Howe. I think that would be brilliant. I think that would be absolutely superb. We get Pochettino, they get Eddie Howe, we get a manager. And you know what? If we did get Pochettino, I would say on this show, I would say on the United stand, the day he came, I'd say, right, forget the last 6 years. Forget we've got to win the title this year. Forget this manager's going to win us the title this year. I think I'd say 3 years. We're going to have to be patient. 3 years, which would take us up to 10 years without a title, but that wouldn't be the new manager's fault. Lucien Fiver ticks most of the boxes for me. He says Matrandi Servastava. Roy Keane for manager, says DB7 Golden Boy. Yeah, potentially, but well, no, I'd like Roy Keane to come in some sort of coaching capacity, generally just to keep people a kick up the arse in the dressing room. I think it's so important. Do we still have a buyback clause on Memphis Depay, says Lolo1121. Yeah, a lot of people talking about Memphis Depay. I mean, for me, Memphis Depay, I think we spoke about him a few weeks ago on the last international break. And the thing about Memphis Depay is just that, look, I think he had a lot of pressure on him when he was at United before. Imagine what the pressure would be like this time. It would be doubled because, you know, it'd be like you failed once. Are you going to fail again? He fell out with the dressing room of Lyon only a couple of weeks ago because he's got a big ego. He's playing very well at the moment. I think he's playing up front at the moment. And look, I just don't think so. We have got that buyback clause. I wouldn't be surprised if we triggered it, but I'd be very, very concerned. And I personally think a club of Manchester United status, why go back? I mean, the Pogba thing, I was happy about it, but has that gone well? Is Pogba here for another 3 or 4 years? I don't know. Personally, I'd just go and get a Cardi. That's what I would do, but you know, money shouldn't be an obstacle to United. David C says it's about money. Surely keeping Jose will cost more. Buy De Gea, buy Martial, even Pogba, and God knows who else will leave because of his boring football and outdated tactics. Well, that's a very good point, David. A very good point indeed. Are the board clever enough to realise that, yes, sacking Mourinho and bringing a new manager in and giving him a transfer budget is probably going to cost you northwards of 200 million, whereas keeping Mourinho is going to cost you nothing more than a 50 million January signing. But you're right. The cost of not being in the Champions League, the cost of people like De Gea and Martial leaving and leaving for very little money because they've only got a year left on their contract, you know, but that's a footballing decision, isn't it? And do you trust them to make footballing decisions? I mean, to be honest with you, let me get his name right. Luis Campos, who was technical director at Real Madrid for Mourinho. I think he went to Monaco then, and he's now at Lille. He's being touted as the director of football because he's somebody that Jose Mourinho would like. He's worked with him before, but there's a reluctance from Manchester United apparently to appoint somebody who is Mourinho's man. I think the club are looking to bring a director of football in after Jose Mourinho has gone. So, you know what? There is a spin. There is always two sides to a coin. And there is that whole, well, what else do you want Ed Woodward to do in public? You know, is meeting the shareholders. Is he really going to go in? Yeah, it's been a crap start to the season. You know, if this carries on with us out the top four for any more time, then we will be sacking Mourinho and we'll be spending a load of money. The shareholders ain't going to like that. So, you know, Woodward's got to portray a positive thing. Just by the way, as well, he did mention the American tour and said it was a good tour. I think it was a terrible tour, and I think the American fans were treated badly. But apparently, we will not be going to America next summer, which is only going to cause us more problems. I think we lost a lot of fans over there last summer. I think not going there this summer will cause us a problem. But we are looking like Australia, which may well include China, Japan. You know, possibly, I don't know whether they'd go India as well. But I certainly think in the past when we've done Australia, we've done Japan, and I think we did China as well. So that looks like what we're going to do this summer. So if you're from that region, it looks like you will be getting United over there, whether you want it or not. Sergio Hernandez says, what do you make of Christian Pulisic at United? I think under Jose Mourinho, Leon Bailey, Jordan Sancho, waste of time. Don't bring those sort of players in. Really don't. Marky says it speaks volumes not going to the USA. Yeah, I think it does. But come to Ireland on tour, says Jack Coleman. Yeah, they'd never do that. They sometimes play a game in Dublin, don't they? Bring in Diego Simeone, says Super LB. I've got to be honest with you, I don't want Simeone at United. I know he's got a very good track record, but for me, he's just another pragmatic manager, and I don't want that at United. I'd rather, like I say, if we went and got somebody who plays the modern style of football, so let's just say as an example, Pochettino, I would say 3 years. You've got to give him 3 years. We've given Mourinho 3 years. And Mourinho's the man who's a short-term checkbook manager, wins you the title in the first 2 years. And he's not done it. So if you bring Pochettino in, who's going to have to remodel the whole club, remodel the whole philosophy, get his own players in, I think he'd need 3 years. And that probably terrifies a lot of United fans because we haven't won the title since 2012. But that's probably what's going to happen. Jose has burnt out bridges out in America. Jose's burnt bridges in America, says Andy Stewart. Mark, would you have taken Pep over Jose for United? There's a very good question from Rahul Matthew. You know what? I think it was Robbie Savage. I was reading it today. Robbie Savage was saying that Zidane wouldn't get success at Manchester United because Mourinho would win the title with Man City's squad, but Pep wouldn't win the title with Mourinho's squad at Manchester United. Now, that's something I've always said. I've been saying that for a long time. So I would agree with Robbie Savage half of that. That I think that Pep Guardiola wouldn't win the title with Manchester United's current squad because so few of our players could play the way he wants to play football. And he would probably need money that Mourinho has not even been given. I think he'd need 600 million to get the players he wants in. So, I would have took Pep over Mourinho definitely, but he would have built a totally different squad. Having said that, you know what? If Pep had took the United job and United had said you're only getting the 400 million Mourinho's got, would you bet against Pep going and finding different players who play that way that are cheaper? He's got a good understanding of what sort of player that he wants at United. Now, would Mourinho win the title at Manchester City? You know what? I'm going to say no. Because I don't think he would win the title with Man City because he's still going to be the same Jose Mourinho that got sacked by Chelsea. He's still going to be the same Jose Mourinho that is pragmatic and scared to lose because he doesn't want to lose his reputation. I think people think, he'd go to City, get all the money he wants and he'd win the title. There's no evidence of Mourinho being able to do that anymore. What sort of players would he bring in? He'd probably still get Matic at Man City. He'd probably still bring Lukaku in. I don't think Mourinho's been stopped from bringing the right players to United. I think he's just brought the wrong players in. Now, he might have got Pogba at Man City. I agree. Pogba was available. Man City would have matched it. Mourinho might have wanted him. But Pogba would still be the same Pogba at Man City that he is at United. Just because he's at Man City, you've got to take your brain away from the way Man City play football because they wouldn't play like that under Mourinho. They'd play the way that we play now. So it wouldn't matter who he brought in, they'd still have the same problems. But I do agree that Pep would struggle with the squad we've got to win the title. He'd need to spend money. Ryan Beale says we need to get rid of Mourinho, but problem we have is no matter what manager we bring in, we have a board that isn't right fit for the club. I agree, and I disagree, to be honest with you. And Rahul Matthew, I've read that question. So, yeah, look, in all honesty, I think a new manager at Manchester United obviously will always be dependent on what support they're given by the board. But I do think that in the case of Jose Mourinho, if he was to leave Manchester United tomorrow, I would say that we are in a situation where you've had nearly £400 million. And as I said, there are clubs that are performing better than us with far less money. Arsenal at the moment. Spurs have been more consistent than us over the last 3 years that Mourinho's been here with far less money. Chelsea, less money. They're doing better than us this season. Liverpool over the last couple of years, I know we finished above them last year, but they got to a Champions League final and they played better football for less money. So I think Mourinho's the money excuse doesn't wash with me. And how else can the board cause an issue for Mourinho? You know, they've given him more than enough money, I believe. Yes, he wants more, but people always want more. So they don't come down to the training ground and say, don't do that, do this. Pick this team, pick that. Mourinho's picked the team. He's picked the tactics. He's had a lot of money. I know the board's a problem, but I don't see the problem as an excuse that Mourinho can use, to be honest with you. And that is my personal opinion on it. Problems are deeper than just the manager, says Robbie Jones. Yeah, as a global, yeah, definitely. What do you think about the Bayern Munich manager, says Sitembiso? I think he's very good. I think he's doing very, very good. I really hope that Dortmund win the league this year in Germany, because I think it'd be fantastic. I love to see that Bayern Munich monopoly, because it is a monopoly. They hoover up the best players in Germany, and then they're the best team. So I would love Dortmund to do it, because they do it in the right way. Youth and exciting football as well. PCM says pragmatic definition, dealing with things sensibly and realistically in a way that is based on practical rather than theoretical considerations. There you go. Andy Stewart says, I remember saying to Flex on a fan cam after the Leicester game that I thought we would finish third this season. How things change. Well, Andy, there's people out there who thought we were going to win the title this year. I certainly remember saying myself, no matter how bad it gets, we'll get top four. We still might get top four. You know what? Let's look. The reality is, we go into that Palace game next week. We surely win that game. I mean, I don't think there's any great need for celebration when we beat Palace next week. We should be beating Palace at home. I believe we will beat Palace at home next week. And we've got to do the same with Southampton the following week away. And we've got to do it with Fulham and Arsenal at home as well. So we've got to, be looking to take 12 points. But seriously, does beating Southampton, Palace, Fulham and Arsenal at home, does that make you feel any different than it does now? Well, it shouldn't do, because they're games we should be winning. United should always be judged on how far off first place they are and what they're doing against the top four. And the Man City game was an embarrassment. I can already predict the Liverpool game will be an embarrassment as well. I can't see us getting anywhere near them. But you never know. Mourinho might park the bus. He seems to have a bit of a voodoo over Klopp. Glenn Goodwin says, if Ferguson took over next season with the current squad, do you think he'd win the league? Well, I don't think Sir Alex Ferguson's capable of doing it because of his age and obviously the illness he's had. But if you're saying the Sir Alex Ferguson that retired with this team, I wouldn't bet it against Sir Alex Ferguson doing anything with any team, because he's the greatest sports manager ever. As I've said before, obviously Man City are streets ahead of everybody at the moment. But there is a good United side. I mean, I saw in the Manchester Evening News today, they were doing a poll on every position and every combination of the midfields. And the starting 11 that came out, massively popular, was De Gea in goal, Dalot, Lindelof and Bailly, Luke Shaw, Herrera, Pogba, Fred, Martial, Rashford, Sanchez. That was the team that everybody wanted, which I think is the team we spoke about before. So, look, there is a good United team there without spending any money. So you could drop a decent manager in, and obviously they're going to need a bit of time on the training ground, but we do have a good team. We do have a good team if he picks it, but we know the problems. This manager wants to play Lukaku up front. This manager wants to play Matic and Fellaini in the midfield. This manager wants to play Ashley Young as a fullback. This manager wants to play Chris Smalling at centre-back. This manager wants to put Jesse Lingard on the wing. He doesn't pick the team that could be our best team. And that can only come down to the manager as well. Just a quick heads up, because a few people have asked. Tomorrow night it's Sunday Night Live, so we'll have Sophie and Flex tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. So really looking forward to it. Leroy says that team is good. I mean, this is one of the things I keep saying. People keep wandering off their minds to the transfer window. And any team can do that, because, Spurs could say, if we could just buy a player for this position. The reality is, United have got a very good team. We just don't pick it. We've got a very good team with the right manager. We've got a very good team that the manager doesn't pick currently, and this manager doesn't play the right tactics. But if the right manager came in with the right tactics and was told you can't spend another penny, I still think we could be a very good team. Of course we could. How long is it going to take to get our United back, says Mikael Vela. I've got no idea anymore. Michael Ferguson says Manuel Pellegrini or Brendan Rodgers, neither, both shite. Ferg says Mourinho needs to utilise his players. Well, I don't think he ever will. I don't think he ever will. It's year 3. I keep saying this. And one thing that did just drop into my head is that, remember what I said at the start of the season. If we don't win the title this year, Mourinho should go. And that was before we knew. You know, this was like before a ball had been kicked, and we're talking about the season ahead. Expectations have been lowered ridiculously since then. But my stance was, it's year 3. He's got to win the title. If it's 3rd or 2nd or 4th again, it's time to say, thanks, Mourinho, let's try somebody else. Because you can't have 3 years, £400 million and no title challenge. You can't have that. So it's thanks, but you've not got it anymore. Goodbye. Look at the situation we're in now. You know, we already know we're not in a title race. Some people think we're not even in a top 4 race. But the club is still sticking by him. Even if he turns this season around and we got 2nd, he must be sacked. Because that's 3 seasons of no title race. He's got to go. But as I said, expectations have been lowered massively. The board are only bothered about money. And it's a very, very difficult situation for United fans. Because I don't know where we are. You know, some people are hoping and praying this situation is going to turn around and Mourinho can work a miracle. Some people are like, I can't wait for the day he's sacked so we can start trying again, because the longer he's here, we're just sinking. And some people are just confused. And that's the situation, isn't it? That is the situation. I like Laurent Blanc-Adicha. I think for me, he is the man. When you look about what he's done, he's played for the club before. He's won things at the highest level as a player. He did fantastically well at Bordeaux. He did a decent job at PSG. He won 3 titles in a row. And at France, he took over France after all that problem. So, you know, I think he's the perfect man for Manchester United. But whether we go and get him, I wouldn't trust this board to go and get the right sort of person at all. Bradley Reed with a ridiculous question. He says, Martial or Memphis Depay? Well, Memphis Depay is a B-Tech Martial. He's doing it in a pub league. Martial's doing it in the Premier League. You know, Martial is 10 times what Memphis is. 100%. 100%. And also, Martial's still at Manchester United. Memphis blew it. So, B-Tech. You're a B-Tech Martial. Anyway, I just want to say, remember the Discord server. The link is in the video description for that. Just get over there. Go into the server. If you've never used Discord before, probably do it on your laptop first. When you're in there, everything's down the left-hand side. You'll see voice chats at the bottom where if you click on them, you can listen to people talking. You can mute your microphone so you can just listen, or you can unmute and get involved in the conversation. And then the chat groups at the top are all text chat groups. So you've got your latest Man United news. Chat, you can just chat amongst yourselves. So the link is in the video description for that. You'll only be able to join our Discord server through that link in the video description, because that's the invite link. Philip Burton Wood says, it's okay saying he needs a centre back. We aren't scoring enough. This should have been sorted in the summer. It's a joke they gave him a contract. Well, you know how Jose Mourinho got a new contract, for those people who are hanging about? You know how Jose Mourinho got a new contract? What happened around this time last year? He started talking about how great Paris was and what a great project PSG was. And United started to get a twitchy arse because PSG were looking for a new manager. Then we went into January, we won 3 or 4 games in a row. Martial scored in every game and they gave him a new contract. And then he bought Sanchez, dropped Martial, and we became terminally shit. That is how he got a new contract. He gobbed off about PSG, Woodward shit himself and gave him a new contract. Clever play by Mourinho, but it just shows the naivety of our board. This is the people in charge of our club. All they're thinking about is money. They're not football people. They're not ruthless enough as football people. They react slowly because they're too busy doing calculations, which is what you do on a calculator. So there you go. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching. Remember, tomorrow night it's Sunday Night Live. It's Flex, it's Sophie, and it's me. Really good show tomorrow night, it will be. And then Monday night, it's another Discord call-in. So make sure you get on yourself on the Discord. I'll speak to you all soon. Thanks for watching. Please do drop a like on the video on your way out. Really enjoyed the show tonight. And I'll see you soon. Enjoy your Saturday night.